And I'm Lindsay.
And this is the Game Form.
This week's episode, we're doing Hype. But before we do that, these are the games we're playing this week. I've still been sticking around with Red Dead Online, and just started playing Gundam Battle Operation 2.
I've been playing Greedfall still, Borderlands 3, and also Red Dead Online.
And, to start us off on Hype, we're going to be talking about Anthem first. Anthem, I think, is probably one of the worst examples about hype. They promoted this game a ton before its release. We started hearing about this game almost 2 years before the game actually released. They spent a ton of money on live action trailers. Pretty much everywhere you went, you'd see this game. They paid off a lot of reviewers. It was supposed to be the Destiny killer style game. It was going to revolutionize gameplay. It was going to be just amazing, out of this world. And then the game came out. That is not what they delivered on.
Yeah, it's pretty broken.
Yeah, it was a very broken experience, a very shallow experience. Hardly any content to the game at all for what they had originally promised to deliver on. Very short campaign, very lacking in content, and overall just not a lot to do to really keep you engaged. And as far as post-game content, like after you finish the campaign, there's only three like the raids to play over and over again to grind for.
Yeah, there was not very many, at least at launch. I'm not sure about right now though.
I know they've added a little bit in since then.
Yeah.
But even since then, they had to do a roadmap of how to fix it, and now they've ended up canceling that roadmap, which is not a good sign for Anthem's future.
No, and much of the team is left too, so that's not good at all.
No.
Next, we're going to be talking about SpiderMan. Came out in 2018. There was a lot of trailers for this game. I felt like it was a little overhyped. At least there was a lot of trailers, but it ended up performing very well. It was critically well received, and I guess Sony owning the license and it being exclusive to their console, they're gonna send this everywhere, show everyone. So it did pay off. So that is there's a lot of hype for the game, but it performed well, and so that's just an example to counteract negative.
And I think even though Spider-Man had a lot of trailers like Anthem, they delivered much more content.
Yes.
And much more polished content than Anthem did.
Yeah.
So hype can go well as long as you have the content behind it to back it up.
Yeah. And they released 3 pieces of somewhat substantial DLC shortly after the game came out too, so they had more on top of a pretty well-balanced game.
Another way in which hype was used was with Apex Legends. After EA learned from Anthem, they essentially kept a lot of their cards close to their chest with Apex Legends. Rumors of the game had started coming out a couple months before its release. A lot of people knew the studio was working on it, but thought it was going to be more like a Titanfall game, since it was the same developer and supposed to be set in the same universe. Essentially what they ended up doing with Apex Legends, though, is no trailers, pretty much nothing leading up to its release. Then they released it and opened the floodgates. They paid a lot of Twitch streamers, game players everywhere to start promoting it out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, everyone is asking the questions, what is this game? And, why is everybody playing this? And where can I play this game?
Yeah, and it being free definitely helped out.
Yes, it being free, everyone, why not go check the game out? So I definitely think that helped a lot to boost Apex to where it was. And it went from pretty much nobody hearing about it to the number one streamed game on Twitch in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Even passing Fortnite.
Yes.
And that is, I think, a genius way to promote hype when you get everybody talking about something, throw it out there, and let them try it out. You know, where you literally put your money where your mouth is and be like, look, here's this thing. Go check it out. We think it's going to be good, and successfully roll out a launch, proving that EA can do it if they really want to.
Yeah, if they try, they can. Speaking of overhyped games, the Holy Grail, Death Stranding, you probably have heard of it.
But what is it about?
We do not know.
No one does.
No. It's created from mastermind Hideo Kojima. He's known for the Zone of the Ender series and the Metal Gear Solid series. He's been hyping this game up for a long time now. There's been a bunch of trailers that have come out. Not a single one has really explained what the game is. They've gotten more confusing as time goes on, and the game is roughly a month away from this episode.
I think when you take games like this, though, like, it's going to be almost impossible to live up to that level of hype.
Yes.
Like, you just keep building on it and building on it. It kind of reminds me of, like, was it Duke Nukem Forever?
Yeah.
Where it was in development for, like, 15 years or something?
Yeah.
And it finally came out and it was just terrible.
Hopefully it won't be that bad.
Hopefully it won't be that bad. That's like
bad
record-breaking bad. But when you keep pushing the hype, you can move the goalposts so high that it is like impossible to achieve. Because no one even knows what to expect out of this, so it's really hard to gauge where you're even setting the bar at.
Yes. And it's packed full of celebrity appearances, which are definitely going to hype this game up. People are going to be talking about this game for a long time, whether it's good, whether it's bad. We'll have to see how the game performs. It's definitely going to be very controversial in a good way.
One last game to talk about as far as hype goes has been Final Fantasy VII, a game that I think the users have generated most of the hype over. The developer originally had said that they were not interested in doing remakes of games, but people pushed for it so hard and for so long, they finally gave in and announced it.
Yep.
After they announced it, it has taken them a long time to get around to actually developing the game. It's been a very stalled cycle, which I do not think was intentional, but has kind of been building even more and more hype on the game. We finally started seeing some new trailers on the game. It does look really interesting. It looks really good. They have said that they're going to break it into 2 parts, but this is one where I think the user base has really created the hype around the game. Really not so much the developer or publisher on this one. And I guess to close out, hype can be used a lot of different ways. It could be from the developer really trying to push something. Sometimes they can try and push something that is not ready. They just want to sell as many copies as they possibly can as soon as they can before people find out that it is not a good game and not a finished game. We see stuff like that with Anthem and a lot of newer releases. Game studios can also, come up with a little bit of hype for their game, throw out a couple trailers, be a little bit more moderate, just get people to know about it, have a pretty polished game, and that tends to work out pretty well. Mm-hmm. We've also seen newer development techniques like Apex Legends, where they just throw the game out there and then hype it, which seem to be incredibly successful. So I would not be surprised if we see a lot more of that style of advertising in the future. And then we also see like user-generated hype with like Final Fantasy VII. So there's a lot of different ways in which hype can help or hurt games. It really just depends on the overall quality of the game and if it can live up to the hype that it's been generated on. And that's it for this week.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Lindsay.
We're the Game Farm.
Bye.
Bye.